Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing this October the 20th, 2025 altcoin update. And to you, my Jabroni Killer members, I'm doing this. It's just afternoon time here on Monday, and I'm going to release this to you uh, 6, 7 hours before the general public gets it. That's what I like to do when I do the altcoin videos, give you guys a little 6, 7, 8 hour head start on them. And you can see we got to get right into this because I'm on my lunch time, so we're not going to be talking any shenanigans. You can see the AMP. Unfortunately, AMP is signaling a very bearish in the short term. And if we do break down, we can move this over. The next low is a swing low, which you hit back here in the summertime of 2024, right? And that's about probably a fit. I'm not even measuring that because it's so depressing, but that's probably a 50%. We'll measure it. It's a big time collapse from where we're at now, right? To the all-time low. It's a 44% move to the all-time low. I don't want that to happen, but is it something that's I don't even think that's the all-time low. I think we had something lower prior to that, but it's something that is possible. Nope, that is the all-time low. And if that is the all-time low, something that you don't want to happen is something that I have drawn out, where you go into price discovery the wrong way, and then the next 5 to 10x move is simply from the new low back to where the prior, I guess, mean would be the current price if that happened, right? So that's option A that we're really looking at. But option B is what I think is going to happen, which is 2026 is going to be the year of AMP and the year of DGB, where they are the top two performing uh, percentage gangs during the year, I think would be. And as our track shows in the background, but does show that one of them does hit that all-time low. The other one stabilizes about where we're at now. And then as we get into November, December, we start to trickle up and then we accelerate to the upside in the spring into the summertime season with the seasonal rally in Bitcoin, like the seasonal springtime flowers. You get the seasonal summertime rally in crypto, right? At least the last half a decade. So that's something that we're watching out for. To bullish, what we need to do is we got to start getting some buyers, which we don't have, and we got to get back into this pattern, which we are not. And then we got to sustain that, which has not happened yet. And then we got to look something like that and really get going. The bearish scenario is the exact opposite, sort of what it's attempting to do, but we're going to continue to follow this in AMP. And DGB, I still am very bullish next year, although DGB is breaking, and it, I believe, did break an all-time low, unless there's something on an older chart that I don't have. I'm not a DGB expert. I don't know exactly when it came out, but I still believe next year DGB will be the year of DGB, and along with AMP. Could I be wrong? I am not a financial advisor, right? I do not have big crypto positions for a reason, but I still believe that this will be a big, big move. And this is trying to telegraph that it's going to take place next year. But we did create a new all-time low, which is obviously very, very bearish. But we did get the quick wick back, and that was on the epic flush. And that's something like the smaller cap coins. Look at the percentage move on this dump. It literally went down 47, 48%, which could have been on bad scenarios. If bad news ever came out where there's something structurally that changes with crypto, this thing could go bankrupt in the matter of a minute. Same thing with AMP, same thing with XRP, and a lot of these small cap or a lot of these uh not Bitcoin, right? And that's the scary thing. But you can see it did get back into above the all-time low. You need to stay above that. You need to reattack the overhead 50, the overhead 200, and the overhead 100, and that major upper resistance at 0.00838, which it hasn't been able to do this whole year, right? So we're gonna have to keep watching that. Let me time check this. I got about 4 minutes. Uh, let's go into Axion. Axion is the same thing. It hit a targeted move that we had from, we're going to get in the hourly time frame. We had that 0.00739 as our target since back here in the summer, right? And even farther back when you guys brought this coin to my attention all the way back here when we told you better buying opportunities were coming. Do not buy the blow off top. But this is something I'm envisioning that AMP does. See how this came all the way down 99.99% from its high? Then it had a recovery where from its low, it ran all the way back up almost, but got about 60, 75% back, but it made an 80x move on itself, right? And then if you would have caught it anywhere after it woke up in here, you had to wait a year, But if you did, you made 10, 20, 30, 40 times your money, right? So that's what I think, similar to what AMP's going to do and DGB. But then after that, they just deflate because that's what's going to happen. You have to sell, and whether you sell too early or not, don't hold it too late, because if you bought it anywhere before the move, it's giving you a whole year to make a good sell, right? You could have sold it anywhere. It even gave you quite a bit of time up there to sell. But that's what I'm envisioning for next year with the DGB and the AMP. I think it's going to do something like this. But the Oxeon, I think it's coming back to 0.00237 before it does anything spectacular to the upside, right? If we move on to the XDC, you can see it's the same thing. XDC, I don't believe has ever, it made a big rally, but it hasn't come close to its high from back in COVID when it was hysteria. Has it? No. But you can see, oh wow, XDC's been out for kind of a long time. But you can see XDC when it first came out, it had its big 99% collapse like it did. Then it took a couple of years and did the deed, and then maybe had its blow off top there, and maybe that's its high, and it's never going to get back there. That's for a different discussion on another day and a different time. But that's again something that I'm envisioning the AMP and the DGB doing, and that's why I say just hold them if you bought them in the bear market. I think there will be greener pastures. Not saying it's gonna the pastures will be green forever. It could have a 99% sell off after it has its big move, like Xcion just did and XDC did. And we're going to see here if XDC is just continuing to deflate or if this is something much greater. But on the downside right now in the XDC, the 0.0420 2011 is your major support level at the top part of that support and resistance orange trading zone, which was a targeted move that we've had since the November of last year rally. And that's something that we're watching out now as we're sitting just above the 50-day in the weekly and in the daily time frame. We've had massive bearish crosses. We've been getting forced down for several months by these moving averages. And in the short-term trajectory, if you wanted to get bullish, you have to bounce here and continue this rally. Stay above the 0.062, the 100-day in the weekly. Stay above that and start to attack the short-term moving averages in the daily and get above those. If not, you're going to 0.04 and change. H-bar, same thing. You're desperately holding on for dear life after we did run into our 15-cent target. And that's something that we talked about when we were all up in here getting rejected by that major overhead 34. And this 15 cents, if you don't hold that and you slip it, you're coming down here to the 0.08881. Like the channel, subscribe, peace and love. Got to get back in the work.